So, you just started using LinkedIn Premium. Now what? Well, on your premium company page, you noticed around 7.5 times more page engagement and 5 times more page views. Well done. And now, new clients are messaging you. All because you're using LinkedIn Premium, which helps you get the business growth you want. Think big, small business. Think big. Start your free trial at linkedin.com/premium small business. That's linkedin.com/premium small business.
Hey business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on all your business expenses. Plus, you can earn 110,000 bonus miles for a limited time through July 16th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. If you travel, you know. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends 7/16/25.
A massive cryptid caught on camera by a pair of hikers in the Colorado Rockies. A couple weeks ago, a pair of hikers in Colorado snapped a peculiar photo of what appears to be a large humanoid figure climbing the side of Long's Peak in Colorado. The intriguing image was reportedly taken last month as Jesse Clausen and Camille Avarella were on an excursion to Long's Peak. Upon returning from their trip and reviewing photos from the adventure, the pair were stunned to see a rather unusual anomaly in the form of a sizable figure in the background of one of their pictures. Based on their perceived being's position on the side of the mountain, they figure that the eerie interloper was approximately 20 feet tall. It could be a rock, Avarella mused, but it has all the features of something that is human. The duo subsequently posted the picture seen behind me on social media, where it quickly went viral and sparked considerable speculation as to what the weird figure-like feature could have been. While some imaginative individuals theorize that the suspect being could have been a Bigfoot or perhaps an alien, more skeptical observers argued that the humanoid was merely an instance of the pareidolia phenomenon. With that in mind, what do you think? Comment below. The human-like shape was spotted far up a cliffside in Long's Peak, the Rocky Mountains National Park. When Clausen and Avarella took dozens of photographs while trekking through the Rocky Mountains on their recent trip, the last thing they expected was to end up on the local news. That's exactly what happened, however, after they got home and started looking through their photos. In one of the images, they spotted a cryptid-like figure that seemed to be climbing up one of the rock faces. Based on the scale, they figured it to be around 20 feet tall. It had very long legs and elongated arms. Keen to find answers, they posted the image on Facebook. It was a Facebook group centered around hikers of the Colorado Rockies. It wasn't long before a journalist had picked up on the story, and before they knew it, the photograph, along with the story they captured, was being featured on the news. The more we learn about our planet Earth, the more we realize just how little we actually know about it, and how many species are still out there undiscovered. So just maybe there's some sort of gigantic humanoid creature still not part of our present official scientific roster of species. The two American hikers were astonished after realizing how close they were to this being. They didn't see it at the time of their trek on August 24th, but noticed it lurking in the photograph that they reminisced upon weeks later. I was shocked to the bone when we were looking at the picture, behavior analyst Clausen told Daily Mail. Recalling the hike, she added, "We didn't see anything. We didn't take the picture because we saw the thing. We just took it because the mountain range was pretty." Behind me, you'll see the original photo taken by the two hikers. The pair had been walking for 7 hours when they snapped the figure just after scaling the peak at around 9 a.m. Filled with adrenaline, they paid very little attention to what was going on in the background. It was only later, when sharing the pictures on a plasma screen TV, that they first noticed the creature. Zooming in on it, their father noticed the white coloration on the side of the crag. Camille's dad said, "What the hell? That thing is at least 20 feet or so." And Camille responded, "Should we call the Rangers?" "It could be a rock," Avarell added, "but it has all the features of something that is humanoid. It was so far away it couldn't really do anything to them at the time. They like to think it may have been an alien. The anatomy is so human-like it's freaky," added Avarella. Hikers say they are open to interpretations, and they posted the pictures on the Facebook group for Colorado hikers. Dozens of commenters were disturbed by the phenomenon. And you can't help but wonder if this has something to do with the next story. On May 12th, Space Force Sergeant Lucas Makaj was found on Mills Glacier near the base of Lamb Slide within the national park. He had been attempting to summit Long's Peak, a 14,259-foot tall mountain, and was reported missing that evening. The National Park Service said this in a news release. Initial investigations indicated he took a significant fall. Rocky Mountain National Park rangers completed an on-scene investigation, and recovery operations took place by helicopter. His body was flown to a land zone in Rocky Mountain National Park and transferred to the Boulder County Coroner's Office. Kaj was a Space Force operator for the 8th Combat Training Squadron, part of Delta 8, stationed at Shriver. He transferred into the Space Force from the Marine Corps in August, Delta 8 said in a statement. Shriver Space Force Base is located in Colorado Springs, roughly 160 miles away from Rocky Mountain National Park. Space Delta 8 is a family, and we have lost one of our own, Colonel David Pheasant said to Daily Mail. He extended his deepest condolences to the family, friends, and teammates who will be grieving through the loss. We will make every effort to ensure those within our team grieving this loss have full access to trained helping agencies available. Multiple local, park, and state agencies were involved with locating Makaj's remains, including the Colorado Army National Guard, which assisted in air reconnaissance missions. There are 3 major Space Force bases located in Colorado: Buckley Space Force Base in Aurora outside of Denver, and Peterson Space Force Base in Colorado Springs, as well as Shriver. Many Guardians get out into the surrounding national parks, trails, and mountains to hike on their time off. So what's crazy about that is, at first they said he died from a fall, but they actually recanted that statement after he got his autopsy, but never released the actual cause of death after that. You can't help but wonder, did he encounter this being? Did he have a run-in with this cryptid, and it ultimately ended up costing him his life? And is this cryptid responsible for missing persons that have been taking place in this area? One thing I'll say is I almost guarantee you the Navy SEALs have already been in there since this story broke, and they've either captured or eradicated this thing, but they never post that or share that with the public.
All right, y'all. So about that creature, I have somewhat of a theory of what creature that could possibly be. Has anybody ever heard of Project Abigail? It's a story or a project from Area 51 where a father used his daughter for super soldier testing. He volunteered his own daughter. They injected her with a bunch of serums and she started to grow, but it wasn't a Wonder Woman type situation. She became an abomination very quickly that had an endless hunger. Eventually the dad felt so terrible for what he did that he unalived himself, but not before he made one last wish, and that was that they would at least monitor and take care of his daughter. Well, needless to say, they didn't. They basically would end up neglecting her, hoping that she would starve to death. Well, this only proved to make her angry. Eventually, she broke out of her confinement, got into the halls, took out a couple soldiers, and escaped Area 51 for good. And they never found her. And I'm not lying when I say that creature oddly resembles what Abigail looked like. And who's to say, and I had this theory a while back, maybe even these mountains, the Colorado Rockies, they're not far off from Nevada. Is it possible that she found her way up these mountains and she works her way up and down the mountains over the years and survives and is still alive today? Very weird thought, but it does. It resembles Abigail to a T. And I almost thought that if you look closely, you can almost see female anatomy in the chest area in one of the pictures. Check it out. So if you look closely at the picture right about here, you can see it looks like female anatomy. I thought at first it might be its rib cage, but it just looks too out of proportion. It looks like something's kind of hanging down, for lack of a better explanation. So in the end, I believe our creature is female. Now, is it Project Abigail? Hard to say. You never know. I guess it's reaching probably, but I just thought it was kind of a cool thing to ponder because it did say that Abigail in the story that was deemed to be fake. The story was absolutely deemed to be fake and science fiction, but keep in mind that back in the 50s and 60s, around the World War II times, when Area 51 was first established, there was reporters that would hang out after hours just waiting for lab techs to go to their cars to go home, and they would ask them what's going on in there. And Project Abigail was one of the stories that was told allegedly by multiple reporters. So, and in those stories, she escaped. And being a super soldier, yeah, I know it was in the 50s, but still being a super soldier, maybe they were able to alter her aging. And maybe she doesn't age like the rest of us. It's just a hunch, just a cool theory, but in the end, this creature, I don't think is necessarily super hostile. Otherwise, we'd hear about a lot more missing people's reports, a lot more horrible scenarios with bodies found and people who go missing found. What I think is this creature just wants to be left alone. And when people go in its territory, it gets territorial. It doesn't want to be discovered. Unfortunately, it made the mistake of being caught on camera. And it was only a matter of time with all the tourists and all the people who climbed that mountain. It was going to happen. In the end, I'm sure the military sent somebody in. But if you look closely behind the picture, you can see there's almost a cavern-like shape or a cave-like shape to it. I believe that the Long's Peaks used to be ruins. And when you look on Google Earth, you can see there's definitely some more symmetrical shaped structures on it. So what I believe is that the creature may have found some ruins within these mountains, and that's where it dwells. Well, probably not anymore, because I'm sure the military probably already sent a group in to eradicate it or capture it. But that's my 2 cents on the whole ordeal. You never know. What do we do on this channel? We think outside of the box. We think thoughts or scenarios that seem to be out of this world. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. Is it Abigail? Is it female? Stay in the love, stay in the light. Be kind to others. I am out.